And I think that's more important to where you work at, because 9 times out of 10, where you work is just using your energy. And I don't know too many jobs give it back. They say take your pay and let's get it. Hey, we closed. Why are you still here? Right? Right. So just think about that. Are we rolling? We good? Okay. So kind of like I was saying a moment ago, you have say so in your space. You have say so about everything around you. But one of the things that we deal with is cultural conditioning. Right. And I think society has us looking at cultural conditioning as color based, right? What one race is doing over another. But it's larger than that. It's much, because it goes on everywhere. It's not just color based or race based. It's human based, right? And once we realize that, hey man, this is a human thing. It's okay. I tell you what, it's okay. I'm trying to think. Something that I did just because everybody was doing it. Clubbing, right? That was, yeah. Hey man, that's the thing to do on Friday, Saturday. Go clubbing, and everybody was doing it. So hey, you going out this weekend? Oh yeah, I'm gonna be there. And you get your little check, right? And you gotta get them nice rags, get that gear. And if you're a guy, to make sure them ladies see you. If you're a lady, you get all pretty. Make sure that guy see you, right? And that's something that we did because that was a traditional way of meeting people, right? And then I think as we got older, we said, hey man, can I just meet somebody in the produce area? Right? Because clubbing is getting kind of hard, and them I can't keep up with the youngsters, right? So hey, the produce area becomes the location of choice, right? So that's okay though. But I think one thing, like as we know now, we can give that advice to younger folks and say, hey, it's okay to club. It's okay. Just be careful. Don't make it to where it's bad, because it wasn't bad for us until we realized we couldn't keep up with it. And it's something that's just going to happen as a natural thing. And that's what my bubble said. Everything is natural human behavior. So it's okay. Don't feel that you are an outsider in anything. Nothing. Like, man, you say, hey, I think I have issues. Well, we all have issues. Some folks just don't put their issues out there. Or some folks choose not to share it with you, because you're not that person that anything should be shared with. Right? You have to, that's important though. Because guess what? We have to do that. You can't share everything with everybody. Be private in your life. Because guess what? That's yours. That's mine. I got this. I can handle this without the community knowing it. Because this is my happy place. This is my safe place. This is where when I exist, I just enjoy doing the things that I do, right? And it's important. That's very important. So now we're going to go to the Q&A session, and I'll do it like this. You good? You ready? I'll do it like this. Does anyone have a question at the moment about anything? Okay, well, pass me the mic. Yeah.
I guess the first question I'll
Okay. Why that title is My Bubble? My Bubble Opinion. Okay, so I'll say this. My son and I had a conversation a little while ago, and we was talking, and I'm a debater, right? And I kind of cause people to think, right? And if you just say anything, you're saying it, just anything, and I got you. Like, come on. Like, where you get that from? And you're like, whoa, you got to tell me because you said it. Right? So, where you get that from? So we were talking, and I was talking about the title, and I said, this is what I have, son. I have My Bubble Opinion. Then we were talking, because he's a thinker as well. And he said, well, Dad, you probably should put theory on there, because it's, theory. Because what you're doing is a pretty cool theory, and I had it my bubble opinion theory /theory for a minute. And so this is the funny part, right? This is the funny part. I said, okay, as I thought about it, him and I talked about it for a second too, but as I had to get close to writing the book, I said, I got to make a decision. I have to make a decision. I said, okay, man, if I do theory, there's a lot of educated people out there that do theory stuff that I cannot even come close to because they deep dive in those theories and they've been doing it for years and years, right? I'm like, no, I can't have a conversation. No. I said, well, boys, one thing everybody got, opinion. And if you're human and you're good, you have to respect an opinion until you know that opinion shouldn't be spoken. Right? But you have to respect an opinion. And everybody has one. So that's why I came up. I said, okay, I'm sticking with that, my opinion. So if I get in any kind of interviews or anything, if I'm doing anything, guess what? Automatically, everybody know this is my opinion. And now, but it's researched. It's not just, hey, I'm not just flapping it against the wall. It's research, it's observations, it's experience, it's talking to people from every walk of life. And it's commonalities in our bubbles that we're born, we have parents, we are teenagers, we're babies. Like if I say everybody wear Pampers, might not be that brand, but boy, we wear something so we're not peeing on the couch or in place, right? Yeah, and we've seen kids do that, right? When they're growing up, they pee in place. Like, whoa, what are you doing? So everybody almost is worn a pamper if that's their civilization, right? And where they live. So it's my opinion, and I would say that we all have opinions. For one thing, you have to do is respect your own opinion, meaning it's yours. You're not repeating it from what somebody else said to you. That's important because that's the information that we'll pass on. And if I pass on what my cousin told me 50 years ago as fact, is that fair to the next generation? You know? And one thing I say is as well, and I write in the book about, and definitely future volume, is that if we're older and we still have people that we're advising, we have to experience what that person is experiencing at some point so we can give them good information on what they're experiencing. Right? I said earlier, now this is going to shock everybody, right? But remember trusted agents. Remember that. So if we have young folks clubbing, we need to see what's going on in the club. Now, meaning, that's what you asked. Yes. Meaning, we need to have a trusted agent that can report to us what's going on. Right? Like, hey, hey, Tommy, check this out, man. I know you're clubbing over there at this one. Let me know what's going on there. And they'll let you know. And see, that way with your advice and the things you're saying to people, you have a little more education on the topic. Now, is that you got to make sure that's your trusted agent that's giving you good information, right? Because some people say, hey, I refuse to do that again. And that's okay. But that doesn't mean that you have to not know about it. Because one thing that'll happen if you don't know about it, whoever you're trying to advise will cut you off if you don't know what you're talking about. And you just have just continue to be an advisor in their life. Period. Because guess what? They might be going to a club they reading poetry at. Or they learning and doing constructive things in the social environment. Their safe space. Understand what they're doing. That's okay? That makes sense, right? Yeah. That's that good old opinion, researched. Right? That's what we do. Did you have another question, sir?
I'm going with that. Okay. So I guess so glad somebody was saying my public opinion process is affecting from itself from external conditioning, internal conditioning, etc.
Yes, sir.
So you advocating for conscious conditioning where you basically experience and telling yourself
100%, right? So that being said, are we following in our decision making? You know what you're doing. We know what we're doing, right? We know if we're just making a decision and we're following somebody else. And like I said a second ago, is if we're following somebody else, what is that somebody else based on? Where are they getting their information from? Right? I think one thing that, I talk about is that don't just follow people blindly, no matter what position they have. No matter what position they have, do your research. Because all assumed trusted agents are not. That's just a fact right there. All of them are just not. Oh, well, you know what? I'll say it like this. I'll use the kinder, gentler. May not be trusted agents. But that causes you to do what you're supposed to do with your life. I've had plenty of folks in leadership positions, a certain status, a whole certain office, give advice. Man, that advice was just good for them to keep empowering themselves. Like, I can get more power if I lead the people to do this. I get elevated. I get that position. I get that robe and dangly things. My pockets get fatter. And then I can squeeze them. And guess what they're going to use against themselves? The guilt trip. I'm supposed to be doing this. That's right. Oh man, let me go ahead. That person has this position. They're passing it around again, or they're causing me to go over here and do this extra effort. They want some more of this energy. So that's the cultural conditioning, though. That's why your bubble has to be rooted as you as the best source. You as your own best resource in your life. Because I tell you right now, like I said, those twins, right? They come out, but each one has their own objectives in life. But that's your sister. See? Okay. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Problem. Anybody next? Oh, okay. Let's go.
And I'm back to work. Like a big trip, what do you mean by a big trip? I mean, I know you just talking about that, like, it's still,
No, you got
give
plenty.
a big trip, like, if you decide to do something and you feel guilty about it. It's like getting a big trip.
Yes, ma'am. And you do it.
And you do it anyway.
You do it. And it's a few things associated with the guilt trip is staying in your social environments, being acceptable in your titled people's lives. Like, oh yeah, my son always does this. He always makes sure he does this. That's right. And then guess what the son does? I want to always make that parent proud. So if I don't help my cousin or my friend like I'm supposed to sacrifice always, and I choose not to, whoa, somebody's going to have some stuff to say about that. But the funny part is, that's your life. See? You're making a decision about your life because that other person might not know that person's been skimming off you forever because you didn't share that, because you didn't want to call them out. But 9 times out of 10 now, this is the funny part. Everybody in that ecosystem know that person is that, like that. Like, oh yeah, I know Fred will always not pay his bills and expect the family to take care of him with a sob story. And guess what? It's the holidays coming now, man. Everybody got a lot of guilt trip. We've been conditioned to have it now. And I'm not saying giving to the needy now. That's different. That's 100% different. Because they need, man. And I'm passionate about giving. But boy, I'm not passionate about giving to the capable. I just can't support that. I can't support that. And that's what the guilt trip will do, have us giving all our energy and time and keeping them close to us, doing the work to keep them close, because we've been conditioned to believe that we're supposed to do. And we want to stay within our group. We want to stay in the club. Sometimes the club needs to be broken up and a new one created. And what is that new club? You. Right here. Because you don't care what somebody thinks outside your bubble. Now that might sound cold-blooded, but it's not. Those decisions you're making is from within you. Why? So you can be good and radiate good, so people around you that does the work to stay close to you are good. Right? Okay. You have another question, ma'am? The ostrich syndrome. Yeah, anybody know what that is? You ever heard that before? It's when we stick our head in the ground when we know it's danger. Right? So it's in the picture, let me draw it in your head. The ostrich head in the ground because the lion is about to get him. So they think if I don't see him, it won't get me. But you know that's a danger that's going to get you. Right? And let me give you an example. Well, I'm not going to change. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Or the funniest one is, I'll live my life based on hope. You gotta be kidding me. When you can do the work and have say so in that outcome. Right? Have say so in those outcomes. Don't allow yourself to say, well, it'll pass. That's kind of saying the danger will pass. That ostrich say, hey, this lion, man, that thing is hungry. So you just helped it. Like, you're not gonna run? Your cousin ran. And I got too tired. You just gonna put your head in the ground? Perfect. So that's saying that, when you see things that you need to accomplish and do, don't just let it go by. Do that work and help it get done. Get it done. Any questions over here? Any questions right here? You sure? You smiling? You got some. Mm-hmm. When it's weakening? Oh, that's a good question. When it's somebody else's stuff that you put energy into before you put it into yourself. And you're adamant about making sure they're okay. Now, part of that is, right? Part of that, and that question is pretty cool, actually, is that's when a person or a thing know that you're their best resource to help their irresponsibility. Right? And saying, okay, I can make any decision I want, and man, I can always go. And then you stop what you're doing, even though you're like, man, and you put it into them. Right? When your bubble starts getting stronger, they know better than just to ask you. They're like, hey, that's not a good source for me to skim off of anymore. I need to go somewhere else. But then you automatically has shown them, I'm not the one. You're starting to get stronger because that guilt trip would make you weak. Like, oh man, no, and understand this, everybody. Now, and I say this is that if you are a religious person and you love your God does not want you to ever be weak because they can't help you. So if you sit here and allow people to use and abuse you, are you living in your faith? Because 9 times out of 10, your God got to always come to your rescue when you're in bed, struggling. When you're driving in your car, cussing everybody out. Or when you dump what's going on in your mind that you created in somebody else's lap. What does that mean? When you're in their space, you're always talking about somebody else instead of yourself or what you can create. So think about that. So if you get somewhere and the first conversation you're having is about other people, you got to say, hey, am I living my life? Am I creating my bubble? Because it should be like, oh yeah, I did this yesterday. Hey, what are you thinking about? Hey, are they feeding folks this weekend, or what are you doing this weekend? You hadn't said anything about Tammy, right? Because what happens is a lot of people that are not happy with their own life, they throw fog up and talk about everybody else's life. And the other part is the people they talking about. See what you invite in your space. The other people not talking about their life either. The loop. And then it gets to the point to where you're craving to be with the people so you can talk about other people. Right? That's the event. That's, hey, man, I'm going over here. Why? To specifically get gossip and talk about other people. Well, guess what? You have your own life. Strengthen that thing, man. Actively participate in your present moment. Because one thing we should never regret is getting old and dying and wishing we had lived our lives. Because it's coming, right? We all know it's coming. Then what you gonna do though? You have time. And man, hey, I'm gonna throw something out there. From the last thing I read, and people say it a lot, tomorrow's not promised. So I'm not gonna spend my time, maybe a second or two, right? We always say something about somebody else, man, when they ain't acting right. But they only get a hot second. A hot second just to get it out so it ain't up in me. They get a hot second and move on because tomorrow's not promised to you. What you gonna do with that? See? And it's not a thing to where it should be, oh, I gotta do this because tomorrow's not promised. No, live life. Enjoy. A lot of times I don't think about anything. I'm just doing what I'm doing, not thinking about anything. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's like no care in the world. Right? You have to practice that though, a little bit at a time. And then you're going to find that when you do put your energy towards something, it's constructive. Right? And then part of that ostrich and that bubble strengthening, how much stuff do you think about that's not yours, rather, every day? You see? Because I know for me, I just need to eat, take a shower here and there. I need to do this thing, once a month, eat a little food, relax, listen to some smooth music or look at some nature and stuff. You don't have much in your life. But we stack it with other people's stuff, man. It seems like we never get a break. So that's what the bubble says. My bubble opinion says, man, you create this within you. Peace. Good peace. And don't just cut folks off. Don't do them. Don't pull the pacifier on that quick. Just gradually take it out, right? And then you'll get to identify who you need to throw it away on. But other than that, the people they will adjust to you. That's a fact, right? And I say that for a fact is, and we'll go to the next question. Think about that person that you just don't want to have a contact with, like that grumpy old person, or that grumpy younger person. Like, man, I'm not even going over there because I already know they have a bubble. See, you removed yourself from their space. It's the same thing. Okay. Any other? We have another question right here. I love this. This is good stuff. And while we're getting there, just know that all this is baby steps, right? But it's being aware and to start having say so and take steps for your peace. And nobody's perfect. Nothing's perfect. So don't even think about it. Just say, hey, I'm gonna be peaceful today. And then I don't know. What if we tried this right here? Say, okay, for a day or two, I'm just to wake up and see what's going on in my life. I'm not going to respond to it, but I'm just see what's going on. Let me see what's going on. And then from that point, you can decide what you participate in the next days. And you can identify who has a priority need. That's important. Now, if somebody called it just talk, guess what? Mental peace is what? Let's talk constructive stuff. Let's just talk constructive stuff today. And try it one time. Say, hey, and you change the topic. You got to get good at that transition. Transition to another topic. Ease to another one. You know, if you had to say, hey, it's cold outside 100 times, right? You try to ease to another topic. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. Try. Correct.
That's what we can do. Keep on thinking on other people's stuff.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and just say
baby steps.
Yes, ma'am. 100% baby steps. You know, and just start, because sometimes we've done it so long, it's our auto action. And you listen to this. This is funny. Don't bring up people in your conversation that you know are full of drama. Right? That might help. Like when you're in that conversation, don't mention Tina's name. Right? Because you already know, hey, Tina, hey, hopefully there's nobody's real name in this group, right? But I'm just saying, don't mention Tina's name because you already know. Right? They take a whole hour. Okay. Yes, sir. You had another question?
I was going to ask, but kind of answered that. What are some initial ways to acknowledge bubble opinion and mention stay away from drama, but what are some other?
Read on your TV channel. News is pretty uneducational. Because a lot of times, and I've heard people say this, hey, I'm going to turn the news on to see who's getting shot now or where's bad stuff going on so they can avoid going there. Right? Because kind of the news is inundated with stuff. So kind of maybe cut back on that a little bit and watch the Discovery Channel. All right? Find some YouTube channels that are educational for you and get some new education. I know I do that all the time. I kind of enjoy the universe, so I kind of educate myself on it a lot and find out a lot of new stuff I didn't know. But also, the people that are close to you, start supporting their passions and dreams without them requesting you doing it. Because if you're having constructive conversation, they're going to mention their drive, things they're trying to accomplish. New hobbies could be one. Building something or trying to, because everybody's not good at fixing the faucet. Right? Maybe watch some videos on how to fix a faucet because it might happen. You see? You're putting that education in yourself or those good resources to go to. Stuff like that. Did that answer your question?
One more question.
Okay. No.
You mentioned cultural.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When does it start? Or is it
like when do you start being self-aware?
Yeah.
Or when? Okay. So I think one of the things I always say is, when should a parent start considering, in my bubble opinion, as they raise their child? And one thing I always say is, as soon as they say Santa Claus got you that, right? Because that's early in our life. The Easter Bunny. Every family should have a pet, right? These things, because it's probably families that's probably the last thing they need. Like you got to be able to live with each other before you bring a pet in the house. You see, but we didn't get every family needs a pet, but we got it off TV. and we just inject it, right? We inject it. So as these things start happening, and you look at how you are, your environment that you're creating within your bubble, what is it based on? Was it based on something that, because there's a conflict. Understand this, it's a conflict because a person can work hard and get things and achieve things and do things, but a lot of times that's the perfect poster person for cultural conditioning. Because when they sit and pause, they can't think of anything they truly need for themselves to exist. They say, hey, I'm supposed to get this, I go get it. Boom, got it. Hey, I go get this, got it. And they just stack those things up, but the person within is never fed. For one, they're feeding the economics of the world. For two, they're showing their social ecosystem, hey, I have this. I'm showing you success. For three is sometimes you got to give up a lot of stuff for that. Like, what are you giving up? What are you giving up in that? So if once we start identifying what are we giving up, then that can begin the process, especially for older folks, right? It's like, man, I've done a lot, but what did I accomplish? I've done a lot, but what am I giving back? I've done a lot. Who's around me? Am I keeping all these folks around me? Because I had a big party on the 4th of July every year. Because I'm the Christmas house. So I got to go get $20,000 worth of Christmas house party stuff and make sure I keep that up so when people show up, they're having a big shing ding and happy. And I'm the true poster of the cultural conditioning way of right. It's important.